What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Happy freaking New Year to everybody out there. I hope you guys are having a really good New Year. I hope you ate your cornbread and your cabbage and your black-eyed peas and all that good stuff so you can have your good luck, get all the wealth coming in, everything, all that good stuff, get that good stuff out of the way. But what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Yeah, I hope y'all having a good one, but we're going to continue this saga of Cenk Uygur getting berated by the left for just talking to MAGA, trying to go and, articulate his positions to the right, try to have conversations, try to have open discourse, try to put everything out there on the table so we can know what's going on, where we agree, where we disagree, and let's work all this stuff out because we need to work together if we're going to be a single unit. If we're going to be one giant melting pot, we need to have everything melt into the pot and just everything come together and coalesce so we can have a functioning society. But what is the left? The tolerant left. We tolerate everything except everything we don't tolerate, which is pretty much everything that's not far left. These people are insane, but who do we have coming in? Berating Cenk Uygur. We got Francesca. I forget her last name, to be honest with you, but she's from the Bituation Room, which, that is what it is. It's funny name there, but she's a stand-up comedian turned political pundit. So we're going to get into this, and they have a pretty decent conversation. It's okay, right? But it's okay in the sense that you got two leftists going at it. You got one that's like, we need to win. We need to get some of these voters back. We lost everything in this election. And hang on, to everybody, to all you lefties that might come in and leave mean and nasty comments, you're wasting your time, by the way, but go right ahead. Get that out your system if you need to, but I would honestly suggest to listen to this entire thing. You might find we agree in a lot more places than we disagree. But before I run that clip right quick, get you guys to do me a giant favor and smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. But without any further ado, let's run that clip, y'all.
I honestly, that portion, that kind of destructive attitude is poison. It's not just poison to us, it's poison to our chances of winning. Because we keep pushing people out, we keep pushing people out, and then all of a sudden we lost all the swing states and we lost the popular vote. I'm trying to get our side to wake up, snap out of our hypnosis of we hate, and we hate the right wing, and they're all white supremacists, and they're all racist, and they're all sexist, and we hate, and we never go in the room with them, we hate. What the hell happened to us? And no one's allowed to disagree. We're now authoritarian. No.
Wait,
I
Cenk,
rebel.
can I just clarify?
I will never allow the left to be authoritarian, and this idea of just hating the other side is poison.
You know what's so funny about you calling the left authoritarian is that you think the left has power. Like, I love that you think
total nonsense.
We are on the precipice of real authoritarianism and real fascism. And you believe that the online left are the authoritarians? I mean, I don't know how to tell you. You sound like Bill Maher and Nancy Pelosi had a kid, and it came out Cenk Uygur. And let me just ask you though. Let me just ask you. So what shows on the left do you like that aren't on the TYT network?
Yeah. So I said, look, there's a lot of good popular shows on the left that I like, and it's because there are. So. Breaking Point's a good show. Kyle Kalinski's Secular Talk is a good show. He was against me going on MAGA. I haven't seen his video, but Kyle's been against us a couple of times. But I largely didn't hold a grudge on that.
But wait, let me just stop you. First of all, you had a great conversation with Crystal Ball. I think she made some really good points to you on. I think it was on Breaking Points. Kyle has, I think, been very disturbed, especially by your appearance with Charlie Kirk. But what you just said there, they've been against us. I really want to just dig into this idea that, because you're a fighter, man. That's cool. That's great. But like, you really do have a very I almost want to call it Bush-like, Cheney-like, you're with us or against us attitude.
100% wrong.
Like you just literally, I love that you're proving my point. But
no,
when
I
say this, you truly, you sound like people are either against you But if they
No.
criticize you, they are not. And yet, here you are, Cenk, telling the entire right wing that all you want to do is break bread with them, that you want to debate with them, but afterward you want to go have a beer.
Yes, I do.
You want to have a beer with people who want to put people in mass deportation camps. They want to deport.
You think we're going to get put in camps? You sound all right. Anyway,
you think I sound crazy? They're starting with Chinese people. That's my family, dog. Like, what are you talking about?
That's such an excuse. Okay, they're going to start with Muslims. They're going to start with my people. Okay,
sure.
So stop hiding behind vulnerable communities.
I'm hiding behind vulnerable communities.
Yes, you are. You're using them as human shields.
I'm standing in front of vulnerable communities, Cenk.
No, you're
what
not.
are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm in front of vulnerable communities. I'm the most endangered, Franny.
By tweeting at Elon Musk? Please, don't help me. Come on, Cenk. This is so sad. That's so sad.
Let's take
it down. Let's simmer down. No. Simmer down.
Okay, so now that we've got the moral grandstanding out of the way, it's like, what? I'm the one that's not using these vulnerable communities as a human shield. You are. No, wait, what? What are y'all even talking about here? Like, these people, Cenk's true colors are showing through. His progressivism, his tolerance is showing through. No, I'm the social justice warrior that's going to help all these vulnerable communities behind me. No, I am. This is insane. Maybe they don't want your help. Y'all ever thought about that? Maybe some of these people don't even need your help, to be honest with you, but you gotta love how Francesca starts breaking this down. It's talking about Cenk Uygur is acting like you're either with us or you're against us, and then she's actually being very, very hypocritical right there, right? Like, she is the one berating him for going to talk to the other side, and actually even explaining that, like saying, oh, well, you would go and have a beer with these people. That's not you're either with us or against us type of stuff right there, right? Like, you're trying to work out ideas. Huh? You're going into the lion's den. This is what Cenk Uygur is doing. You people are berating him for doing so. How insane do you have to be? These people, you just gotta love the blatant hypocrisy coming from these people. It's outright, it's thick, it's insane. But we got a lot more clips coming in, y'all. So let's keep going and see where this lands.
There's different layers of right wing now. There's their leaders who are almost, uniformly full of crap. Then there's, a middle bureaucracy, and then there's the voters. And the voters, and Franny, you don't have to trust me on this, because those MAGA guys, they will tell you exactly what they think. They're not holding anything back. They have no need to lie to you.
Yeah, they've been telling us for many, many years.
Yeah. So they're also not lying when they say they're anti-war, anti-corruption. They might have been misdirected, but they're not lying. So what I'm trying to get them to see is firing the federal workers is not the answer.
Yeah.
Cutting the Pentagon is part of the answer.
Yeah.
And so when they say yes to cutting the Pentagon, they're not lying. The MAGA voters actually want to cut the Pentagon.
What do you think?
Do it is a completely different question. And so one more thing that's super important, though, it's not a booby trap, Franny. I understand what you're saying, and that's one way to frame it. But in my mind, when you have people who actually agree, you're not tricking them. You're just getting them to see, guys, you wanted to cut the Pentagon, but look, your leaders didn't cut the Pentagon. So do you see how they led you astray? Right? I'm actually getting them to I'm just showing them that their leaders are not doing the things that they promised. On the other hand, sometimes Trump responds to his base. So if that base gets angry enough and says, hey, let's cut the Pentagon, maybe Trump does cut the Pentagon, where Biden never would, McConnell never would. In the Biden-McConnell era, the Pentagon's only going to get increased forever and ever and ever. Corruption is always going to increase forever and ever and ever.
I mean, wait, just on this.
The advantage for us is that he likes to be popular. He just doesn't know how. So
I just really want to, just drill down on a couple of those things. And then there's a lot to talk about, and I don't want to take too much of your time, but just on this new MAGA, old MAGA thing. I've heard you say new MAGA as you talk about anti-corruption, anti-war. Cenk, they were like that in 2016, man. I mean, let's be honest. The reason Donald Trump just destroyed the Republican primary, was absolutely being an outsider, right? And sort of purported seemingly anti-establishment, even though, he's a billionaire, part of the elite. But it really was around being against the Iraq war. Now, for his reasoning was, we should have taken all the oil, F those, whatever, like enter expletive, right? Which I think gets to another point. But he was also, remember, in terms of the corruption stuff, they wanted to get rid of, what was it? They wanted term limits. They had term limits and were suggesting them early on. So the actual the outgrowth of an entire country tired of 8 years of Bush and endless war, and also that was, suffering from the 2008 financial collapse and didn't have any faith in the banks and these financial institutions and all the politicians that protect them that was already in the ether, right? And you had a Bernie Sanders and you had Donald Trump. And of course, the actual establishment, that the centrists that I hate as well, were trying to say Bernie is exactly like Donald Trump. Look at him. He's using the same. No. They were very different. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about the differences between right-wing populism and left-wing populism.
No, see, I think she's just completely wrong on that point. She just does not get it. It wasn't the Iraq war which stirred up the American voter base to get behind Donald Trump. It was a lot of the campaign promises, but what the major thing was is you got this guy, right? He's a highly successful dude, right? He's a rich billionaire, which doesn't have anything to do with being establishment or not. I don't care what the hell she says, what the left thinks. You can be a rich billionaire and be not an establishment person, right? Like, that has nothing to do with each other. But the thing is, Donald Trump comes in and okay, so we could tell the sentiment on the ground, right? People don't like the establishment, but nobody was willing to get out there and actually say it. But what Donald Trump does, he comes in, he comes out and he's like, okay, I'm going to tell it like it is. I'm going to call the shots as I see them, right? And everybody loves that. You're willing to call out Hillary Clinton. You're willing to call out Jeb Bush. You're willing to call out your own side. You're going to call out the establishment. People were like, yes, we've been thinking this the entire freaking time. But what Donald Trump does, he goes a step beyond this, right? He walks up, comes out of the ivory tower, right? Because he's a rich billionaire, so he's one of these ivory tower politicians. But he comes out of the ivory tower, opens the freaking door and says, hey guys, why don't y'all come in and look and see what's going on in here? And that is what got everybody, right? And your general campaign promises got some people, the immigration, the no new wars and all this other stuff. But it was basically just Trump coming out and saying, look, this is what these establishment, they're running a racket, right? And they're stealing your tax dollars to do so. That's what Donald Trump showed the American people, right? This is why people love this guy, because he shows by opening the door to the ivory tower, by, rolling down the freaking gate, letting people cross the moat to get to the castle over here, showing everybody what's going on inside. Everybody loves that. That's why people love him. He showed them that he can't be controlled by these people that are in this ivory tower that he just came from. He's not going to be controlled by them. He's going to show everybody the corrupt dealings that they're doing. Now, like, that was one of the main things, drain the freaking swamp, which he could not do, right? And there are very good reasons for this. And I know it may sound like cope and excuses and all that, but, Donald Trump just came out of freaking nowhere. Right? The Republican Party didn't know who he was. The Republican Party were looking at him in the primary like, okay, hang on, he was a lifelong Democrat. What? Why is he running as a Republican? Well, the Democrat Party and Republican Party have changed. But Donald Trump has done more for the Republican Party in the past few years than anybody, I believe, in a very, very long time. He has woken up the sleeping giant, if you will, of all these people, these based people that hate the establishment, this populist movement, right? Because populism before that was pretty much the fringe. But now it's becoming mainstream because Donald Trump won in 2016 and he, basically tore down the walls to that ivory tower and showed everybody this is what all your establishment, Mitch McConnell's and Lindsey Graham's and all these people, this is what these people are doing behind your back. They're saying they're voting in your interest, but they're not. It's exactly what he did, and people love that. And he's now continuing this, right? This is probably going to be the best presidency in my lifetime, right? Donald Trump already was the best president of my lifetime before, but now the way everything's shaping up, and I love how she was talking about now we're really in fear of true authoritarianism, right? That's lovely. You gotta love that. It's the cherry on top. Yeah, you go ahead and think that, but you're gonna see. You will all see. All these detractors of Donald Trump, you guys are gonna see. Just look at the lineup, right? People are so scared of RFK Jr. and all this stuff. Like, no. Like, they're like, oh, what are we gonna do now that he's gonna, get rid of all these vaccines and blah, blah. He doesn't want to do that. He's not a vaccine skeptic. I've run the clip several times, right? The guy just wants the safety tests from these vaccines. He wants them safety tested. That's it. He wants to know, let's have the public do a risk benefit analysis here, right? We want to see what the benefits are because we've all taken those vaccines, but we also want to know what the risks are. And hey, if we deem that the risks are higher than the benefits, we might just shy away from that, right? But we want to see the safety tests. That's it. We're tired of just being told, hey, this is safe for you, and not being shown that this is safe for you. Stuff like that, right? Like, Donald Trump's administration is going to be great, but we got a lot to get into. So let's keep going, y'all.
It's very real, which is the right to an abortion. And that is one thing that I think a lot of the so-called right-wing populists don't really give a shit about, especially not the mouthpieces of Donald Trump. They don't care that women are bleeding out from miscarriages and dying, going into septic shock. They don't care that they're being turned away from hospitals, that, their life or death is dependent on a bureaucracy right now. That seems like a difficult thing to find a so-called middle ground on. And I feel like we're just sort of ending up with this hypothetical discussion rather than talking about the actual people who are dying literally right now as I speak.
So, Franny, number one, you can't find a middle ground on everything. My idea isn't that we're magically going to kumbaya on every issue. That's crazy, right? Okay. So that's why I keep saying thousands of times, when we disagree, we fight. And the good news is...
But I don't want to get a beer with someone who thinks that I should, go into septic shock instead of be attended by a physician.
Yeah, so I know that this is the thought that's breaking a lot of people's minds, but you should. So please let me explain why, okay? So it's so easy for both sides to say, no, that their way of thinking is so antithetical to what we think, so wrong, that I will never have a beer with them. I will never talk to them. And every time I see them, I'm going to say racist or sexist or some sort of charge to show my moral superiority. But hold on. Remember, they think their radical right is saying the same exact thing to them, to Patrick Bet-David, to Charlie Kirk, to everyone who hosts me. They're like, Cenk called us fascist. Cenk believes trans girls should be allowed to compete in high school sports. And Cenk is a radical in this, and Cenk is a radical, and he thinks he's a Muslim, and he's this, and he's that, etc. So they say, don't have a beer with him. Don't talk to him, right? So, but that's exactly how we get siloed. And instead of having conversations and realizing, yes, we massively disagree on 60, maybe 80% of issues, but for Christ's sake, on some of the most important issues, that 20 to 40% where we agree on economic populism, we never get to an agreement, and then the establishment laughs their ass off at us.
Sure, but Cenk, because
we got them to hate each other.
If your 5% of disagreement with me is I don't believe you should have equal rights under medical law, I'd f you. You know what I'm saying? Like wait, hang on. It's not f you. It's I'll see you when I beat you. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is to me what left-wing populism is about. This is what Bernie was so good at doing. He would never throw anyone under the bus. he would always remember black, white, gay, straight, Muslim, Jewish. Like, he kept on going, and he'd be like, when's he going to finish this laundry list of people he wants to bring on board to the political revolution? And it was brilliant, and he never forgot to do it.
That's it right there. Cenk is trying to show her, look, you can't stand on your morals and say you're evil and I'm not going to talk to you at all. Because, let's take the abortion like she brought up in the beginning of that clip. Okay, you got all these pro-lifers out here. They're looking at people on the left, right? And they're killing babies. And for some reason, they just go right along with that. Like, yes, that's exactly what we're doing. But then they look at it from their side like, we're not wanting to give health care. Like, what? That's ridiculous. That's outright ridiculous. Now, what we need to do is we both need to make each other see that, yes, you're killing a baby, but we're not denying you health care. Because that's the reality. Abortion is not healthcare. I'm sorry. That's not. But we need to have these discussions. You can't stand on your principles. That's why you guys lost, right? Because you're standing on your moral principles over here and like you're evil. And most people don't agree with that. It's a massive turnoff. And Cenk is trying to sound like he said, you're show your moral superiority over everybody. And it just makes you look like a prick. Because we disagree on 5%? What? That's insane. Or, but like the whole abortion issue. Why can't we make each other see, right? Like, okay, I totally understand. Like, I'm a person of compromise over here. I completely understand. They always give these examples on these extremes, like she was talking about going septic and all this other stuff. Like, yes, we agree. You will find, if you talk to us, that most people would agree. If there is a medical necessity for it, if it's to save the woman's life, most people agree. The vast majority of people will agree with that. Sure, you will have some fringe people that might say no, but I highly doubt those people are on the vast fringe, right? But I can almost guarantee you, if you bring it to the point to where you say, if it's medically necessary to save the mother's life, like if she's going to die and it's almost a guarantee, right? Yes, they will absolutely agree with you on that. Yes, sure. And then you have a spectrum of people that they're willing to go certain amounts, right? Like me, I'm willing to give you a few 6, 8 weeks, whatever. I'm a person of compromise. I think life begins at conception. And I think once that life is created, it should be just like any other life, right? Like we should treat it give it all the rights under the Constitution that we give to everybody else, right? Everybody gets equal rights. And so I don't think it should be killed. However, these people over here, they're talking about all this and that, and there's these exceptions. You got these certain, the exceptions or whatever, the mother's life and the two others, incest and all this other stuff. So, look, I understand those. I totally understand those. I get it totally. Okay, let's have a conversation and let's hash out something we can both agree to kind of be okay with as a compromise, in other words. But if you're not willing to have these conversations, we can go and talk to all these other people and then convince everybody else. And this is how you guys lose. This is how Kamala Harris loses. And this is why you guys look like some insane left-wing nut jobs because of it. Because you guys are not willing to come to the table and have the discussion to hash out all these ideas. You're just sitting over here, grandstanding on your morals or whatever. Yeah, go ahead and grandstand on that. Yeah, and we'll see you at the ballot box. While you're grandstanding, we're over here talking with everybody, convincing these people that, hey, it's murder. It's just outright. It's murder. But so go ahead, stand on your principles, shout to the high heavens. Everybody's going to look at you like some left-wing lunatic, nut job, insane, psychotic, should be locked up in a mental facility somewhere because you're unwilling to budge on any of your positions, right? We're not trying to deny anybody health care. We're trying to save lives. And once you can see that, then we can come to the table because, hey, that's what you say you're trying to do as well. Huh. Look. There we go. We can agree on something. Let's keep going.
file your nails or something, because this was not good. This was not a good look during that conference.
I want to ask you guys something. Do you believe that trans Americans should have the same constitutional rights as all Americans to employment, health care, and housing? Constitutional rights.
Okay, Cenk, I'm a stand-up comic, so I listen to crowds regularly. I know when they are booing, groaning, or in this case, there is a whistle of disapproval, and I know when they are cheering. Now, let's play it again. They're not on board with trans people having the same constitutional rights.
I want to ask you guys something. Do you believe that trans Americans should have the same constitutional rights as all Americans to employment, health care, and housing? Constitutional rights.
Do you want me to translate?
You got like maybe like a sixth of the audience. There's a couple people clapping very, very no. Okay.
So,
and then
Franny, let's break it down.
This is the best. Wait, this is the best part. You got to keep watching, because it's the best that, like, not only you get hung out to dry on this, like, can we all agree, shtick that you're on, and they don't meet you.
God,
and then Charlie meets you with this
Constitutional right to housing.
Wait, I love it.
Well, there is no constitutional right to housing.
So then he goes like, wait a minute, not only don't I not agree with you on the trans people, because he never answered it. He's like, actually, fuck your right to housing anyway. And I know that's not even what the Constitution says. It's just equal protection around housing, right? It doesn't say you have a right to housing. I wish it did. But like, it's just amazing to me. Like, do you see? And you look at him and there's a moment you're just kind of like, there's just this moment, and it's just like, what are we doing, Jake? Like, what's going on here?
See, this is a great example. You're being so unbelievably unfair about that interaction.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I did that, Franny, and I knew I was taking a big risk.
You were.
Is because I wanted to try to get some of them because I've done it on other right-wing shows and it worked really well. It didn't work really well this time. That's why it was a risk. But I challenged them on how trans people are like every American, and they should have constitutional rights.
Well, let's watch a little bit. Let's watch whether you did it. Let's watch whether you did it. Did you do it or not?
Let me finish, Franny.
Did you do it or not?
Important, and you're totally smearing me on a thing that is crazy.
I'm playing you the clip. I'm not smearing you. I'm literally playing the clip. Cenk, I'm playing the clip.
Will you let me talk? I said I had the courage to challenge them on constitutional rights for trans people. You asked me to have the courage to challenge them. I did, and now you're attacking me for it.
No, I'm not. I'm not attacking. I'm not attacking you for it. I'm saying you have characterized this.
Look at this. They didn't agree with me.
No. I'm saying
you're trying to get them to agree to constitutional rights. That's exactly what we should do. We should say trans people are just like every American citizens, and they should have constitutional rights. I go and have the courage to challenge that audience to that, and then you want to make fun of it? Like
I'm saying
agree with you. What do you want? Do you want me to challenge them, or do you not want me to challenge them? Make up your mind.
Welcome to the right wing, Cenk. Welcome to the right wing. Now you get a taste of your own medicine. That's what it's like trying to debate a leftist. Let's break this thing down right quick, because that was one of the most absurd clips I think I've ever come across, right? Because that's a very, very good example of one screen, two movies, where she is seeing something that's totally divorced from reality right here. We can clearly hear that most of the crowd is cheering for what he said right there. Right now, it's not Donald Trump stepping on stage, of course, because he says about 2/3 of the people cheered, yay, yay, blah, 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 and about 1/3 didn't. Well, I can break that down for you. That's because 2/3 of the people were like, yes, of course, right, equal rights for everybody, because that's what we all pretty much agree upon. The third heard that and is like, oh, God, here we go with this garbage again, because what do you mean? Well, like, I don't understand this reality that these people live in, that the voter base gets to pick and choose who gets equal rights. Like what? Like I don't understand this. Like people that look into this situation, right? We hear the left talking about trans rights and all this stuff, and all we want to know, this is my burning question to every single leftist out there, right? I want to know, why do trans people, LGBTQ, why do they get to have more rights than everybody else? That's what I want to know, because what are these rights y'all keep talking about? Because they already have equal rights, everything on that everybody else has. So what are these rights y'all keep on standing up for? Y'all are fighting tooth and nail to get for these people. Why do they get more rights than everybody else? Because they already have the exact same constitutional rights that everybody on this planet, or everybody in this country, everybody in this country already has. They're not afforded more rights than the vast majority of the population. I'm sorry, everybody gets equal rights under the law. I don't understand this argument that just because you fall into a certain camp, you want to play this identity politics garbage, why certain groups get more rights than everybody else. What rights do they not have that everybody else has? I don't get that one. But welcome to the club, Cenk. That's what it's like arguing with a leftist. It's insane. They start spouting nonsense. You don't know what the hell they're talking about over here. And it's like, will you please just freaking listen and stop with all this delusional garbage? Because you're being deluded. Just outright. But that's what it's like arguing with leftists. And that's why I told everybody at the beginning of this video, all these leftists that are honestly no longer watching the video anymore, probably, to be honest with you, because they probably can't stand when they hear reality blasted into their face. That's why they left a nasty comment. But, you know, it's funny. It's not going to work, because I've seen what makes you people cheer, and I could care less what you think of me, right? Because once again, I don't care. I really don't care that you think I'm evil. I know where I stand on everything. You can think whatever the hell you want to think about me. That is fine. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing because I see some injustice going on over here. I see the corporate press constantly lying to everybody on a vast basis, manipulating everything, and I'm going to point these things out. I have my personal positions, and I'm going to stand on those positions, and then I'm going to try to convince you otherwise, right? If you disagree, I'm going to explain to you why I think the way I do, and then hey, if you want to talk, we can have that conversation. If not, then, hey, look, you can yell and scream at me all you want, but it's not going to change a damn thing. If you want to have a conversation, we can do that. But, you know, just calling me names, that you're just wasting your time there. And I laugh at that. As a matter of fact, a lot of times they'll leave one of these nasty comments, and I'll put down like, I totally agree with you. I'm going to quit doing what I'm doing now. Just to see what they say, and they never respond to any of it. Like, I never get responses pretty much when I respond, unless it's a genuine argument, right? Then we can go back and forth, and I'll have these conversations, and we can hash everything out, and sometimes we agree to disagree, and sometimes we work ourselves, we can weave ourselves in and out of the conversation to find a place where we agree, and we can part ways amicably, right? But you know, this is what it's like arguing leftists. It's great. I enjoy it, to be honest with you. I love going back and forth with people. I just enjoy that because I like trying to articulate my positions here. But you got to love these interactions. I can't believe we're seeing some of the pushback, right? But it is what it is. It's crazy. And they want to call us over here, the ones, just everybody else is a cult, and not y'all, right? Y'all are the ones that refuse to talk to anybody, and if anybody steps outside of the norm, right, has any kind of differing opinion, they're automatically right wing. They're pushed out, or they're berated endlessly, just over and over and over again for doing so. Oh, you went and talked to MAGA. Oh my God. You're getting kicked out of the club there, buddy. Like, it's just utter ridiculousness, right? Then you got everybody else over here. Many people have left the left, but it's not really the left leaving the left. It kind of is the left leaving the left, but it's not individuals leaving the left. It's the left leaving leftists, if you will. People that, Democrats. It's just being left behind because they find that, hey, we need to find some common ground because we need to move forward as a society. We need to work all these differences out. We want to know, we want to find areas of agreement so we can work in those areas and build that up and get those situations, those problems solved. And then we can disagree on this later. We can work that out. But if you're not willing to get out there and have these conversations and hash all these things out, then what are you doing? You're just trying to hold everything up, and you're just yelling and screaming and gnashing your teeth for no reason over here, making a big uproar when we could be progressing as a society over here, and the progressives are the one that's actually holding things up here. Like, it's just funny. It's very counterintuitive, if you will. The progressives are the one that's keeping everybody stagnated, because they're unwilling to just articulate why these people get more rights, right? Why do you think abortion is actually okay? Like, why do you think all these, right? Why should everybody get free health care? Why should everybody get universal basic income? Why should everybody, keep on going, right? Like, we agree on a lot of places, like corporate PAC money and all that stuff. I don't like that idea either. I don't necessarily see it as all bad, though, right? Just because you're a big, giant corporation doesn't mean you're big, bad, evil. This is just the reality of the situation, right? Leftists, they view the rich as evil, put those in this category. They play the identity politics over here. Well, a lot of people don't like that because you have some genuinely good people that might be a CEO. Like, look at Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk says some really base things, seems like a pretty good dude, right? But to the left, he's evil because he's rich. He's establishment because he's rich. Well, that's not how reality works. Everybody is different. Personalities are on a spectrum, right? If you want to go there, personalities are on a spectrum. You can't just say because they're rich, they're evil. That's not how reality works. And you need to come to see that. You need to wake up, right? That's all we're trying to get you people to do, is to wake up to reality, is to see that your positions are very, very stiff and they're divorced from reality. And if you're unwilling to move on these positions, then you're just holding everybody else in place. You're not trying to progress yourselves, so you can't be actually called a progressive. It is what it is. But I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one, y'all. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Like, this berating of Cenk Uygur, I'm loving it because they are exposing themselves just outright. They're exposing their own intolerance, right? The tolerant left is exposing themselves as fascists and just some of the worst people. Just some of the worst people, because they're just so unwilling to even talk to people, which is just crazy to me. But y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.